Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morale Booster with John Ughulu. And today I have with me a very intelligent woman. Her name is Jane Ryan. Jane Ryan is an emotional intelligence scholar. She is a transformational leader as well. And today she's going to tell us about herself, how she got into the industry she currently is. So, Jane, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you, John. I'm excited to speak to you and share my story.
My pleasure. I know it's been back and forth, trying to have you on the show, but I thank God you finally made it today.
Me too.
Yeah, I know you're a very busy person.
I got the time right this time.
Right. That's good. Okay, so Jane, my listeners are currently eager to hear from you. Could you please tell us who Jane Ryan is?
It's a loaded question.
Yes, I ask lots of loaded questions.
Yeah. I think it's a good question, to ask. I ask it in my coaching all the time is, who are you, right?
Right.
Do we understand ourselves? And if we don't, that's what we need to find out. So my current, where's my life begin? Let's see. So to start today I have my own coaching practice,
Right.
where I primarily work with executives that are in either life or career transition, transformation, or they're just starting a new position with a new organization. And so I'm coaching them on how to achieve their goals, basically, right? I would say 80% of my clients are all in career transition. That wasn't my goal when I first set out. It was God that, decided that's where Jane should be and what she should be doing.
Right.
So it's interesting how it evolves. I began my career, let's see, so I'll age myself, but I started in global human resource consulting 20 years ago.
Okay.
Actually, probably more like 30 years ago. And because I built a career in that field, working for the world's largest consulting firm. And that's how I started in this whole transformation, if you will.
Right.
I was blessed to be able to travel the world and work with Fortune 50 companies at a very young age.
Right.
And it opened my eyes to the world of big business and people, because the firm I worked with was always specialized. It specialized in talent management, leadership development. While I had to know everything, right, under the HR umbrella. So,
Right.
you touch everything. But I gravitated towards the things that really helped organizations become successful through their people. And a lot of that had to do with behavioral change and understanding, making sure you have the right people in the right seats, and understanding cultures and integration and all that stuff. And so I got involved in mergers and acquisitions from a cultural integration perspective, from a human perspective, rather than, all the money and transactions and the business side, even though that was critical, right? If
Yes.
an organization is not successful, its people won't be either. So we want both.
That's true.
So that's kind of the world I grew up in. I always say I grew up in because I spent a lot of time doing that.
Oh, okay.
And then what happened? So I loved what I did. And as the firms begin to, a lot of the consulting firms back then were private, and then they went public, and then they started to consolidate. And today you can see that very evidently, where a lot of big firms have come into one.
Right.
So after 20 years of doing that, I had to think about what I was starting to get burnt out. I don't know if it was really burnt out from the sense of being stressful burnt out. It was more I was bored. I needed something more meaningful. And I realized I was also at an age where I wanted to do something more meaningful. And when you start to get middle-aged and beyond, you should be thinking about those things. Is what I'm doing meaningful? And um, what's the legacy I'm really going to leave behind?
Legacy. That's a good one.
And I coach. I end up coaching my clients on that, no matter what age they are. So what happened was, I got married. I had a daughter. My husband passed away.
Oh,
He had leukemia, which
may
was
his soul rest in peace.
yes, thank you. But with every tragedy or sadness, there's a silver lining if you look for it, right? So my daughter was 8 years old at the time, and um, she came. We lived in hospitals basically for 2 years, right?
Oh,
The oncology floor, and all that, and went through bone marrow transplants, and it was just like a 2 year blur of trying to work through everything that needed to be done, right? And the great news is his transplant was successful. It wasn't. He was the type of person that couldn't sit still
oh.
and behave himself and do what the doctor said. And so he got on an airplane without an immune system afterwards. And that's what actually ended up
Excuse me.
taking his life more than it wasn't the cancer. That may have happened, who knows, but that was all in God's hands. But
I commiserate with you on your loss.
thank you. It's a long time ago now.
Yes.
That was back in 2000. Wow, it's been a while.
Okay.
So, but the reason I bring that up is there is a silver lining, and we have to look at our lives and what takes place. And through all that, my daughter actually today is a very specialized pediatric hematology neuro-oncology.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Right,
That's a good
mouthful,
one.
right? But see,
Right.
that's the silver lining.
Yeah.
What she experienced in her young years and went through really impacted her life, whether we knew that at that time or not. So
Or
there's
not.
things that
Yes.
we go
It
through.
influenced her. It was part of what molded her. Yes.
Yes, very much so. And so I share that because that was part of my journey. And when Katie was graduating from high school and getting ready to go into college, I knew I was going to have like major separation anxiety, and I needed to do something. So what happened though was that was in 2007. I left global consulting in 2003 in search of myself, right?
Yeah.
What do I want to do next? I want to find that more meaningful life. And for me, I tried a few different things and kind of just got lost in it all, really. But it was a time of self-discovery. And what I ended up doing was going back to school to finish my degrees because I never finished. My career took off when I was very young. I was in school. I was going to Georgetown, actually, thought I was going to be a lawyer.
Okay.
Back then, you didn't have distance learning, and I started to travel. So that didn't last very long, and then my career took off, but which was wonderful. I learned all these things, and I got to work with some amazing people around the world, and very and just smart businessmen and women and individuals. And so why do I share that? So let me think. So fast forward. So I did that, did my soul searching, then went back to school. Then Katie's graduating. And it was interesting because I went right into my master's and then into my doctorate, and she was going into undergrad and knew she wanted to be a doctor at that point.
Right.
And, so all that took place. And what happened was in 2007 was really, even though I had started my own coaching practice before that, I didn't get real serious about it until 2007. And partly that was just my fault because I started coaching and then I'd get scared because I didn't have any money coming in. And I'd grab it, right? And I'd dabble in coaching and I'd get scared because I needed that money. Because here I am, a single mom. I have a mortgage. I have a daughter getting ready to go in college. I was in college. It was, you know, probably not in hindsight, I thought, and I would say that to myself, wasn't probably the best time to go back to go on my own,
Right.
right, to become that solopreneur. But I knew if that was my passion and my heart, and that's what I really wanted to do, and I believe that was the direction God took me in, that was right. That's what I needed to do.
There's never a right time to do anything right, because if you're waiting for the right time, you will definitely wait for eternity.
You'll wait forever, right?
Right. So there's never a right time. All you need to do is to have that vision, have a passion for what you intend to get into, and take action immediately. Action is the most important